So, I've been debating whether to post this for days, but honestly, I need to vent somewhere. My mom's big 60th birthday was 2 weeks ago at this fancy restaurant downtown. I was actually looking forward to it. I bought her this vintage record player she'd been eyeing forever, even paid extra for rush shipping to make sure it arrived on time. I showed up early to help set everything up, arranged the gift table, helped the staff fix their Bluetooth sound system issues. Typical. My brother Mike flew in from out of state with his wife and kids. My other brother Chris drove up with his family. Even my Aunt Stella, who never comes to anything, showed up. The dinner started off fine. Food was good, everyone catching up. Then came the speeches, and that's when it all went to hell. Dad stood up first, glass raised, talked about their marriage, how proud he was of the family they built. Then he said, "We raised 3 boys together, well, 2.5 maybe." Cue the chuckles around the table. I forced a smile and took another drink. Then Mom gets up, getting emotional, looking around the room. I'm so blessed. I have 2 wonderful sons, a successful surgeon saving lives, a brilliant lawyer who just made partner, and one who still delivers pizza at 35. The room erupted with laughter. People were howling. I sat there gripping my water glass so hard my knuckles went white. But they weren't done. Mike jumped in. Remember when he said he'd be a businessman and have his own company someday? More laughter. His wife Danielle added, "At least he finally stopped asking to crash on our couch." For the record, I stayed with them for 2 weeks 5 years ago when my apartment had water damage, and I brought them dinner every single night as thanks. Dad chimed in again. "Some kids just never grow up, but we love them anyway," with that stupid patronizing smile. Even my 16-year-old nephew looked at me and said, "Uncle Jack's still living in Grandma's basement." I haven't lived with my parents since college. I have my own place downtown. Then Aunt Stella had to add, "Maybe next year he'll get a real job." I set my glass down and walked out. Nobody even noticed. I paid for the record player with the card I left at the bar and just left. My phone stayed silent for hours. Mom finally texted around midnight asking where I went. I didn't respond. Here's the thing nobody in my family has ever bothered to understand. Yes, I deliver pizzas 3 nights a week, but not because I have to. 6 years ago I started building a payment processing platform for small businesses. Nothing flashy, just helps with cash flow management. I bootstrapped the whole thing myself. I keep delivering pizzas because 1, it gets me out of the house talking to real people, and 2, it's honestly incredible market research for how small businesses actually operate. But my family never asked. They just see pizza delivery guy equals loser. End of story. What they also don't know is I've been quietly helping all of them financially for years. When Mike's practice was struggling to launch, I anonymously paid off 150 grand of his medical school debt. When Chris needed help with the down payment for his house, I sent 130k as a gift from a client who wishes to remain anonymous. When my parents' roof collapsed and insurance wouldn't cover it, I paid the 122k repair bill through a special appeal that magically worked out. I've been making automatic payments on their mortgages, car loans, and credit cards for years. I'm not filthy rich, but the business does well enough that I could help, and I did it anonymously because I didn't want them to feel like they owed me anything. I just wanted to help because they're family. But after that birthday dinner, screw that. 2 days later I logged in and cancelled everything. Every automatic payment, every scheduled transfer, gone. Called the bank, stopped every recurring payment to any account connected to my family. Nothing illegal, just stopped being their secret safety net. It took about 2 weeks for everything to hit the fan. Phone started blowing up. Mom at 6:03 a.m, "My card got declined for coffee, what the hell?" Chris at 7:15, "Why is my mortgage showing unpaid? The house is in foreclosure." Dad at 8:47, "The truck is being repossessed, what's happening?" Danielle at 10:22, "They froze our accounts, the kids' tuition." Mom again, voicemail, "Please pick up, the bank says the house isn't ours anymore, where are you?" I haven't answered a single message. They've called, texted, emailed, even reached out through mutual friends. Chris showed up at my apartment yesterday pounding on the door, yelling that his kids might have to change schools. I turned my music up and ignored him until he left. Look, some of you are probably wondering why my family treats me like this in the first place. Growing up, I was always the weird one. Mike and Chris were good at sports and school. I was the kid taking apart computers and teaching myself to code at 13. My parents never got it. When I dropped out of college to work on my first startup, which failed spectacularly, it just confirmed every low expectation they had. That failure has defined me in their eyes ever since. They decided I was the family disappointment and never updated that opinion. Part of me feels bad. These are real financial crises hitting people I care about. But a bigger part of me is just done. For the first time in my life, they actually need me. They just don't know it yet. I'm still delivering pizzas, still running my business, still living my life. But now I'm wondering, do I tell them it was me all along? Do I wait for them to figure it out? Do I ghost forever? All I know is I'm done being the family punching bag. Update 1. Holy crap, you guys. First, thank you for all the support. Didn't expect the last post to blow up like it did. A lot has happened in the last few days. I'm typing this in the back room at work between deliveries, so sorry if it's messy. My parents showed up at my apartment the day after the last post. I was coding when the buzzer went off. Checked the camera, saw both of them. Dad pacing, Mom mashing the button. I muted it and kept working. 20 minutes of texts, we know you're home, your car's here. Please Jack, it's an emergency. I put the phone on silent. They finally left. I grabbed my keys and went to my pizza shift. When I got there, my manager Rico pulled me aside, said my brother Chris had called 4 times asking for my schedule. Rico was confused. I just said family drama. Sure enough, an hour into my shift Chris walks in, with Dad. They started in immediately. What the hell is going on, why aren't you answering? I played dumb. Dad said all their accounts are falling apart at once, asked if I knew anything. I laughed. What would I know about your finances? I'm just the loser who delivers pizza, remember? Chris got red in the face, said his house is in foreclosure, kids might change schools. I shrugged, said maybe talk to your bank instead of harassing me at work. Chris grabbed my arm. I yanked it away and told him never to touch me again. Rico came over. Chris looked like he wanted to swing. Dad dragged him out. When I got home I had 37 missed calls and a full voicemail box. Mom, Dad, Chris, Mike, Danielle, even Aunt Stella. Texts were gold. Mike, whatever you're doing, stop it. Danielle is crying, we might lose the kids' college fund. Mom, the bank says we haven't made a mortgage payment in 3 months, that's impossible. Chris, my credit score dropped 150 points overnight. Dad, son, we're worried about you. If you're having a breakdown we can get you help. That last one actually made me laugh out loud. They think I'm the one having a breakdown. I crashed at my buddy Raj that night, my business partner. Only person who knows the full story. He just shook his head and said, they're gonna figure it out eventually. I said, they've spent 20 years not asking a single question about my life. Why start now? Next morning Raj showed me an email that came to the company inbox from Danielle asking about financial consulting services. No mention of me. First crack in the wall. Later that day Mom texted inviting me to Sunday family dinner to talk. I didn't reply. Out of curiosity I drove by Sunday evening. All the cars were there, having a family meeting without me. Probably about me. I parked down the street, opened my laptop. Since I built the platform I can see all their accounts live. Chris took out a high-interest loan that morning. Mike and Danielle pulled from the kids' college fund. Parents called the bank 17 times that week. My phone buzzed, unknown number, my nephew. Hey Uncle Jack, everyone's freaking out about money. Dad says you're having mental problems but I don't think so. What's really going on? I stared at it a long time. Kid's 16, not his fault. I just replied, nothing, just busy with work. Then Chris stormed out of the house, slammed the door, peeled out. Family dinner not going well, I guess. Got home, neighbor said some upset people had been pounding on my door earlier. Then I saw the email from Danielle. I found your company website. I know what you've been doing. We need to talk. Just you and me. No one else knows yet. Well, someone finally Googled me. Next morning the buzzer rang. Danielle alone. I let her up. She looked like hell. Eyes red, clutching her phone. Your company processes payments for small businesses. You're the CEO. You've been helping us, and now you stopped. I didn't confirm or deny. She asked why. I lost it. Because of the birthday. You've treated me like the family failure for years. None of you ever asked what I actually do. You just decided I'm a loser. She started crying, said no one knew. I told her to leave, and tell everyone if they want answers. Come to the pizza place tonight at 8 p.m. All of them. Texted Rico to warn him. He replied, family drama equals good tips. Bring it on. Texted Raj, they're figuring it out. Meeting tonight. Might need backup. He said, I'll be there with bells on. I'm at the pizza place now. It's 7:45. They're about to walk in and find out who's really been holding the family together. Update 2. The showdown happened, and it was even wilder than I imagined. I was folding boxes when they all walked in at 8:03, Mom, Dad, Chris, Mike, Danielle, looking rough. Raj was already there pretending to be a customer. Rico gave us space. I finished washing my hands, walked over in my pizza uniform and hat. 10 seconds of silence. Dad asked if we could talk privately. I said, nope. Here or nowhere. Chris immediately demanded to know if I was behind their money problems. I said, why would the pizza guy know anything about that? Mike said Danielle found my company online, asked if I really run it. I nodded. The looks on their faces. Priceless. Mom gasped, Dad's mouth hung open. Chris went purple. Mom asked why I never told them. I reminded them I tried 6 years ago at that family dinner. Dad called another crazy Jack scheme. Chris told me to get a real job. Mom worried about my track record. After that I stopped sharing. Then I asked Chris if he remembered where his lake house down payment came from. Asked Mike if he ever wondered how $150K of med school debt vanished. Asked parents if they really thought insurance suddenly changed their mind on the roof. Silence. Dad asked why I'd helped secretly for years and then cut them off. I repeated every single joke from the birthday party, word for word. Mike said they were just joking, that's how our family is. I asked if they ever noticed the jokes only go one way. Raj walked over, introduced himself as my partner, said it's interesting to meet the family I've been bankrolling while they mocked me. Chris stood up, knocked his chair over, called me manipulative and childish for playing games with their livelihoods. I laughed and said I did speak up, every time, and was ignored. Mom went into guilt trip mode. How could you cut us off without warning? Rico came over because Chris was loud. Mom begged what I wanted. I said a real apology. Not sorry you're upset. A real acknowledgement of how they've treated me for years. Chris scoffed that I was holding their money hostage for an apology. Mike told Chris to shut up and actually apologized. Seemed genuine. Then my nephew walked in, he'd Ubered. Chris told him to leave, kid ignored him, asked me how long I've run the company, if I deliver pizza for fun, if he could see the office. I said sure. Chris lost it. Yelled I was turning his son against him, then shoved me. Rico and the kitchen guys stepped in, told Chris to leave or cops get called. Dad asked if we could meet again tomorrow somewhere private. I said I'd text an address. After they left my nephew texted, sorry about Dad. Can I still come see where you work? I said, how about tomorrow at 10? I'm meeting everyone at the office. He replied, awesome. They don't know it's your actual office, do they? Smart kid. Final update. The office meeting happened yesterday, and it was intense. I got there early, prepped folders showing every dollar I've ever given them. Total just over $320,000. They showed up at 9:55, looking completely out of place in our warehouse-turned-startup space. I walked up in real clothes, not the pizza uniform. Their faces. Mom gasped, Chris's jaw dropped, nephew grinned. Led them to the conference room, showed the tech blog feature on the wall with my face, pulled up revenue numbers. Chris choked on his coffee. Handed out the folders. Silence while they flipped through proof I've kept them afloat for years. Danielle asked why I never said anything. I said at first I didn't want them to feel indebted, then it became an experiment. How long would they keep mocking me while depending on me? Turns out years. Chris called me manipulative again. Nephew asked Chris if he'd ever once Googled me. Mike asked if I'd help them get back on track. I slid over my terms. Everything becomes formal loans with repayment plans. They see a financial advisor I pay for, they publicly acknowledge my success to the whole extended family, and the jokes stop forever. One more pizza joke and all help ends permanently. Chris called it petty. I said he's free to let the bank take his house. Mike and Danielle accepted immediately and apologized again. Mom asked why I still deliver pizza. I said I love it, real people, real research for our product. Nephew asked about internships. Told him come next week. Chris asked if I really would have let them go bankrupt. I said, you all laughed when Mom said she had 2 successful sons and 1 pizza guy. Nobody noticed when I walked out. So yeah, I would have. Dad lingered last, looked around, asked if I was happy. I said yeah, because I built this on my own terms, not trying to live up to anyone else's. He said, for the first time ever, I'm proud of you. I just said thanks. This morning I got texts from all of them accepting the terms. Dad asked if I'll come to dinner next week. Haven't answered yet. Raj thinks I should make peace now that I made my point. Maybe. But the relationship is forever changed. What I do know is I'm done hiding, done being the joke, done helping people who don't respect me. And if some bridges stay burned, I'm okay with that.